Hi, boys and girls. I was so excited when Maria texted me to arrange a date to come and do a story. I've missed you. The weather now is so beautiful, isn't it? Sunny and warm. Today's really windy, and they said maybe rain, but we need that too for all the growing and the blooming that's going on. Oh, perfect time to talk about planting our gardens, whether it be a vegetable garden or a flower garden. So I picked a story today that was written by some famous people. Hillary Clinton, who was our first lady, and her daughter Chelsea. Chelsea lived in the White House when her daddy was the president and her mom was the first lady. So when they wrote a book, they decided to tell a story about Grandma, which was Hillary's mom, who loved to garden and all the things that Chelsea learned when they did things together. So our book today is called Grandma's Garden. I bet some of you have a garden going at home right now. And in Grandma's garden, Chelsea's going to tell us about her memories. And there's also going to be some parts where Hillary talks about watching her daughter Chelsea and Grandma working together in the garden. So much fun to do things together with someone and make all those memories that you'll always remember and treasure. Grandma Dorothy loved gardens. She loved flowers and she loved the trees. She loved the animals that lived in the dirt and between the plants. And she loved the time that she spent there with us. Because of Grandma Dorothy, we love gardens too. So Grandma Dorothy introduced them. And when they wrote this book, they dedicated it to grandmas and gardens and grandchildren. What a great combination. Now, there's going to be some parts that Chelsea's going to be saying, and then there's going to be some parts that Hillary will be saying. So when you hear her talk about grandma, then that will be Chelsea. And when you hear them talking about when my mom, then of course you'll know that it's Hillary talking. I remember dancing across the lawn with sparklers in each hand. I remember cutting up tomatoes that we just picked for our 4th of July lunch. Gardens are places for celebrations. They are a special place in your yard. I remember being so proud that Grandma asked me to help her take care of the azaleas. There they are working together. Look at those beautiful flowers. And I don't know whether Chelsea or my mom love gardening together more. Gardens do help to teach responsibility because you're responsible. You have to water, you have to weed, you have to make sure everything is taken care of if you want it to grow. When my grandma talked about gardens that she visited in Morocco, she made me want to visit them too. I love that my mom had adventures later in life and that her adventures included beautiful gardens. Gardens are places of discovery. Do you know, boys and girls, there are flowers that we grow here that they cannot grow in other states or countries? There are different kinds of trees. So when you're traveling, you'll notice the differences, things that we don't have that we might wish we could. I loved reading with my grandmother on her porch next to the sunflowers while listening to the animals in the nearby zoo. It's fun to read together, isn't it? I always read with my grandchildren. I hope you have someone special to read with. They often would read the same book for their book club of two. That's Grandma Dorothy and Chelsea. But sometimes it was a book club of three because we all read together. Because gardens are places of learning. You can read, you can do puzzles, you can play guessing games, all in the garden, just surrounded by those beautiful flowers. In Arkansas and Washington, D.C., we spent a lot of time at the zoo, and my grandmother always pointed out the trees and the plants that the animals were sitting under, or swinging on, or eating. I always appreciated my mom teaching Chelsea how dependent her favorite animals were on nature, whether they were caterpillars in the backyard or pandas at the zoo. Gardens are homes to creatures large and small as a caterpillar, as big as a panda. When you go to the zoo, have you ever taken time to look at the plants and the trees and see how they're being used by the animals? Next time, that'll be a good thing to try. I loved listening to my mom and grandma talk about all the places in the world where our food comes from, including our own backyard garden. As a little girl, I remember my mom explaining that some of my favorite foods, like peaches, were so special because they grew only during the summer months. Don't you love all that summer fruit? Peaches and cherries and plums. Yes, that's a good time. Gardens give us food. I especially love those homegrown tomatoes. Nothing better than that. When my grandma moved in with my parents, I loved visiting them and listening to my mom and my grandma talk about the newest additions in their garden. Once we were living together, my mom and I spent even more time planting our garden, picking out and tending to the plants and the trees and the flowers and watching the birds that came. Gardens are where we can create beauty. So just like Chelsea and Grandma are having fun in the garden, so did Hillary and her mom. They took time to work in the garden together. What a nice time to chat and spend time and make those memories. When I saw my grandma, I loved showing her pictures of the gardens I'd visited. When I could, I would bring souvenir books of the gardens to share, and my grandma's smile made the heavy suitcase worth it. As I traveled around the world, I always tried to store up the images of the gardens, the plants, and the trees I'd seen to share with my mom. I loved sharing memories with her. Gardens are places to share stories. My grandma gardened into her 90s. She knew it was good for her, but that's not why she did it. She did it because she loved it. Watching my mom enjoying our garden and tending to it gave me as much joy as it gave her. Gardens help us stay strong. So even though Grandma was 90, she still wanted to work in her garden. It gave her so much joy. And the Chelsea and Hillary got joy watching her. On a particularly magic day, my grandma and I visited Mount Vernon, George Washington's home and gardens. I wish we could have visited more gardens together. My mom and I would go to historic Dunbarton Oaks near our home in Washington, D.C., and we would wander around the gardens and learn about the family who had lived there. I wish we could have visited more gardens together. Gardens are places to build memories. They sure did a lot with gardens, didn't they? And making those memories that they have now. My children now garden with their grandmother. So now Chelsea is a mom. She has a little boy and girl. And Hillary is a grandma. I think they're going to continue making those memories. I know Grandma Dorothy is present every time we plant a vegetable or water a flower. I feel particularly close to my mom when explaining how to use a small shovel, or how deep to plant a seed, or how much water to plant those seeds, what they need. Gardens connect the generations. Oh my goodness, now there's two more little ones learning. My grandmother was always willing to play tag with me, throw a ball around, play hide and seek in the garden. I think she had as much fun as I did. Today, watching my grandchildren run across the lawn, run around the trees and smell the flowers, makes my heart smile. Gardens are places to remember. So not only are they having fun with the little ones now, it's reminding them of all the things they did when Chelsea was little. Our beloved Grandma Dorothy believed in gratitude, in being thankful for what we've been given, and working to expand our circle of blessings. We are so grateful she shared her love of gardens with us, and we can share the love she gave with us and the next generation. What do you share with the people that you love? Think about that for a minute. It was everything from gardening to playing tag in the backyard to reading stories, or maybe your favorite thing to do with your special person is to bake or cook, do crafts. There's so many wonderful ways to build those memories. So remember, when you're taking the time to do that with a special person, remember, those memories will stay with you forever. I can remember my grandpa's garden, and I can remember my dad's flowers, and my grandchildren love coming to my house to help me with ours. Poppy has a garden full of vegetables, and I've been busy planting my flowers. So we're building memories too. I hope you will too, boys and girls, in whatever way that you choose. So till next week, take care of those memories, and remember, if you have a garden or flowers growing, take good care of them because they need you to continue to be healthy. So till next time, bye-bye. Enjoy the sunshine and the nice warm weather. Thank you. Bye now.
No. Okay.
When I'm done, can I just go ahead and end
yeah.
it? I'm always afraid